This video is brought to you by Scentbird. Dear noble ones, I don't know if you're aware, but apparently there is talk about the making of a sequel to the film Gladiator. We're talking about Gladiator 2, and when I say there is talk, first there were rumors, then there was a plethora of fake trailers that really suck on YouTube, but apart from that now there are plenty of articles that apparently this is real. I think we need to prepare ourselves psychologically, we might even need a little therapy. Now don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm hating on such a classic as Gladiator. I mean, given the film did have his historical inaccuracies, for example, the deaths on the film of two emperors both being wrong, not to mention the idiotic idea of an emperor, Commodus, going all the way down into the arena just to let a slave kill him. But enough about that, Gladiator is a classic, people love it, of course they're gonna make a sequel. Here's the thing, Gladiator 1 was released in the year of our Lord 2000. Now, they're planning on releasing Gladiator 2 in 2024. Ridley, Mr. Scotty, can I call you Scotty? Mr. Scott, it took you 24 years to make Gladiator 2. When are you planning on releasing Gladiator 3? In 2050? I mean, if that's the case, I can get you in contact with Elon Musk, and there is a form that you need to write, you just fill it in, fill it out, whatever you want to call it, and then, you just write date of release, 2050, place of release, first human Martian colony, name of the city on Mars, we don't know that, so just put an X. Jokes aside, I have nothing personal against Mr. Scott. Scratch that, I do have something personal against Mr. Scott. In fact, I have some sort of interesting relationship with him that I'd say is some kind of psychosomatic relationship, in the sense that every single time I read something that Mr. Scott said during an interview, sometimes it's like a video of what he said during an interview, it's like my stomach, my tummy, has a twist. It's a twisting motion that I can't explain, and it's a very interesting phenomenon at a biological level, because at the end of the day I can't explain it, but it happens every time. So when it comes to this, since I'm opening an article online, because again the videos on YouTube, the teasers and trailers, it's all nonsense. It's actually funny that some people fall for it. It's like they're showing these videos, trailer of Gladiator 2 2024 Paramount, and then you see a bunch of Templars and people are like, nah, I don't know, I'm not sure that this is really high production. It is what it is. But there are a few articles and I'm going to read it, and on one of these articles that I'm going to read with you, yes, the things I do for you. In one of these articles, they're mentioning possible castings, and then there are quite a few big names like Denzel Washington. I think it's great because apparently he's going to play, we'll read it for the details. Yeah, get ready for the details. But it's some kind of like slave that won his freedom, and then, he is now a rich slave owner. Not really slave, but he takes care of gladiators. Makes sense, it's fine. As long as you don't, that's a much better casting than Hannible, as I mentioned on this video, link in the description. But yeah, cast Denzel Washington. They said they're gonna cast this guy that I never heard of. Then they said they're gonna cast maybe Pedro Pascal. I mean, cast whoever you want. Heck, bring Russell Crowe, hence Maximus, back from the dead, right from Hades. In fact, bring him back dead. Let's have like a zombie apocalypse in Gladiator 2, where Maximus is this like the underrealm, and then he's trying to conquer the Roman Empire, and you've got like the Empire of Hell versus it's gonna be great. It's not even gonna be called Hell anyways, whatever. There's only one person that I'd like them to remove, Ridley Scott. I really think Ridley Scott, it's like, oh, historians are so stupid. Get a life, historian, you know nothing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, is this video, link in the description. You have been warned, I explode on that video. Alright, since they're not granting my wish, and they're not gonna remove Mr. Scott from his production, let's see what we have got. Let's read it. Gladiator 2, release date, cast, plot, trailer, and more. I wonder what and more means. Maybe aliens? I mean, it's Ridley Scott after all. I wouldn't mind. In 2000, director Ridley Scott introduced Maximus Decimus Meridius to the world in Gladiator. Yeah. So he's gonna tell us about Gladiator 1. I'll take it you already know about that. So let's skip to the part that talks about Gladiator 2, shall we? 24 years later, Scott returns to the arena of blood and sand with his long-awaited sequel, Gladiator 2. Yeah, long-awaited. It's like two generations. The film will follow an adult Lucius Verus, Lucilla's son and nephew of Commodus. Gladiator 2 is one of the most anticipated films of the 2024 calendar. Below, we explore everything you need to know about Gladiator 2, including a release date, cast, synopsis, and trailer. Trailer doesn't exist. Spoiler alert, I suppose. Gladiator 2 is scheduled to be released theatrically on November 22nd, 2024. Paramount Pictures will distribute the film in the US, while Universal Pictures will handle international distribution. I wonder who's taking care of the margin distribution. Oh no, that's for Gladiator 3. Filming wrapped in January 2024, so Gladiator 2 should make its November 2024 release date. Splendid! Who is the Gladiator 2 cast? Let's go. Paul Mescal leads Gladiator 2 as Lucius Verus. I don't mean to be rude, but who the heck is Paul Mescal? A character originated by Spencer Trek Clark in Gladiator, Mescal is best known for his Emmy-nominated role of Cornel Waldron in Normal People and his Oscar-nominated role of Callum Patterson in Aftersun. Have you watched Aftersun or Normal People? I have no idea. Predominantly known for starring in independent features, Gladiator 2 is the biggest film of Mescal's young career. Well, you know, I'm not against new talent. In fact, who knows? Maybe this could be great. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like they can bring back Russell Crowe from the dead. You know, I wouldn't put it past Mr. Half a Helmet for The Last Duel, Ridley Scott. I mean, after that amazing success of a movie, who knows? Scott mentioned how Mescal's breakout role in Normal People convinced him to cast the Irish actor in his Gladiator sequel. Can I see Paul Mescal being as big as Russell Crowe? For sure, Scott told Total Film in October 2023. No pressure! No pressure, Mr. Mescal. I mean, I'm sure you're great, but yeah. I watched Normal People, it's not my kind of show, but I saw 4 episodes in a row, boom, boom, boom. I was thinking, who the hell is this Paul Mescal? You're you and me, Scotty. And then I watched the whole series, and then suddenly Gladiator 2 came up because the script was working pretty well, and I kept thinking about Paul, and that was it. Oh my gosh, not with that picture. That is not the picture you want to use when you say you can't stop thinking about whatever. Great. This is going to be a great cast. I mean, the guy looks cool. I can already imagine him in historically inaccurate Roman armor. It looked dashing. Now, don't get me wrong. Gladiatorial arena, blood and sand probably were a really fun place to be in, but definitely they did not smell very good. But you know what smells very good? The kind sponsor that made this video possible, Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that lets you choose a new designer fragrance to try every month for just $17. It's affordable and has flexible subscription plans. Not to mention, you get to pick what you want every month. Now, do I have my get ready with me routine? For me, it's going to be the simplest possible. If I'm getting ready for an event, to go out with my wife, go to the restaurant, I just take whatever fragrance feels right to set the stage. Do I have a favorite fragrance note? I personally don't have one favorite fragrance note, and when it comes to like cologne, I just like to go with a vibe, sort of depending on what mood I get. Which is why, with over 700 perfumes to choose from and many unisex options, Scentbird is perfect to experiment with new fragrances each single month. Another cool thing about Scentbird is that you don't have to commit to one big sized bottle, because you get every single month one travel sized scent. So in this case, they got me 4 different scents to try. We got Commodity Moss Plus, Yellowstone Ride, Dolce & Gabbana, Light Blue Pour Homme, and Versace Pour Homme. Now, I personally like experimenting with the indie labels, such as Skyla, Confession of a Rebel, but if you are into big names, then they carry those too, such as Prada, Gucci, Dolce, and many more. And with each fragrance, you get a 30-day supply. Although I have to say that in this case, Dolce & Gabbana was my favorite, and my wife's too. Very nice lasting power. Now I'd like to show you how the case opens. It's very simple. That's how you open it. And this is how you can either lock it or unlock it, so that you can begin to spray. Now click the link in the description and use my coupon code Metatron55 off for a 55% off your order at Scentbird. It's just a little over $7 for your first month. Available in the USA and Canada. And as always, massive thanks to Scentbird for sponsoring my video. Denzel Washington will star alongside Mescal as a former gladiator who earned his freedom and became a wealthy arms and commodities dealer. However, Washington's character still holds a grudge against the emperors. Additional cast members include Joseph Quinn as co-emperor Caracalla, Fred okay, I don't know. Oh, Pedro Pascal, I know him. Peter, okay, Matt Lucas. Well, of course, Denzel Washington is a fantastic actor, and when they place him in a role that makes sense, I'm more than happy. So that's great. I like Pedro Pascal. Sounds good. So who does Denzel Washington play in Gladiator 2? Here's the details. Although Mescal is the movie's lead, there has been a huge amount of interest about who Washington might be playing in the film, in large part because of his incredible career in Hollywood. Although most details on Washington's character have been kept under wraps, Ridley Scott revealed a few things when discussing him with Total film. Great, let's see. So, he plays a former slave who has become a wealthy arms dealer, but still harbors a grudge against the Roman Empire. There were businesses or gladiators who could indeed earn their freedom if they stayed alive. Yeah, that's true. Scott said. That was incredible. Scott said something that is true and it has to do with history. I'm impressed. That was the deal. So we went right into that in depth. Where did he come from? How was he taken? He was branded with marks and registered with a brand on his chest as a slave. So that's how he comes into the story. He's a rich guy who's still carrying a grudge. Well, I knew it. It's Ridley Scott we're talking about. So this whole idea, and I remember that they did show this in the original Gladiator, I think, but here we go, back with it, is this idea that they were marked with a brand with fire on his chest or arms, I suppose. I think that happens in the first movie. It's very speculative, but in reality, there is no historical evidence that underlines or proves this idea that ancient Romans actually marked with fire their gladiators and their slaves. And there is one mention in period sources that says that it's like some sort of promise or alliance or allegiance that is being said by a slave / gladiator, and he says that he will accept the markings of fire. But it doesn't sound in the sense that if you read it in Latin, it doesn't give the idea that they all marked them and therefore he's accepting that. It sounds more like they used that as a form of punishment and he was ready to accept it if it so be the case that he did something wrong and then he needed to be marked with fire. It is what it is, but I mean, just a little nitpick, I suppose. Let's go. Of course, there's more to read. Scary! Gladiator 2 will follow an older Lucius about 15 years after Gladiator. Most of the plot details have been kept under wraps, however, Scott explains to Rotten Tomatoes, there they are, what Lucius has been up to since Gladiator. Lucius has been out in the wilderness, says Scott. Let's see, we last saw him when he was 12, Scott said. It's about 12-15 years later. He's been out in the wilderness having lost touch with his mother. His mother lost touch with him. She doesn't know where he is. She thinks he might be dead. Plausible. Paul Mescal was reticent to offer any additional details, but added that he was excited about the project. So this is what Mescal says, Paul. I can't tell you how stressed I am talking about that film in particular because it's definitely the biggest one I've done. Well, yeah, of course, not to mention, I mean, the guy can't stop thinking of you, so of course you're stressed. He explained, I feel really excited, but it's difficult to get away from the legacy of the film a bit. I think it's really well written and it pays homage to the first one, but it's very much something that I think I can step into and make comfortably my own. Good, I am actually excited to see how this guy features. Okay, wait, I just read something weird. In a profile with the New Yorker, Scott revealed that Gladiator 2 will feature a scene where Mescal's character fights a group of vicious baboons. Do what? The profile reads, in the meantime, Scott, been polishing the 90 minutes he had, including a scene in which the hero fights a pack of baboons. He'd been haunted, he said, by a video of baboons attacking tourists in Johannesburg. Oh, that's Scott, isn't it? Baboons are carnivores. Thank you for that. Keep that one and write it down. Baboons are carnivores. Can you hang from the roof for 2 hours by your left leg? No. A baboon can... What the heck is wrong? Is Mr. Scott having like a mental breakdown or something? Goodness gracious, Mr. Scott. I mean, this guy's a boomer, right? Is he older than a boomer? I don't know. How old is Mr. Scott? Anyways, you know how people always complain about influencers, they're influencing young people, get influenced too much. It seems to me that whatever Mr. Scott watches has like an imprint in his head. Like he was watching this TV series like, Paul, I can't stop thinking about Paul, I need to cast him in Gladiator 2. And then he watches, why were you watching baboons, Mr. Scott? Is he like into those kind of very boring documentaries that nobody watches? I suppose. And then he saw this and he couldn't sleep. I can imagine Mr. Scott in there like being haunted by half a helmet in the air and then all of these baboons that, and he's like, carnivores, baboons are carnivores. I need to put them in a movie about the ancient Roman Empire. Oh, this is gonna be great. Man, I'm really looking forward for this. Gladiator 2 is directed by Scott. I know, right? It is what it is. From a screenplay by David Scarpa. Scott and Scarpa. It's so funny that Scarpa, the way it's spelled, actually means shoe in Italian. So this guy's called David's Shoe. Previously teamed on 2017's All the Money in the World and 2023 Napoleon. Precisely. A Napoleon. Scott will produce Gladiator 2 alongside Michael Pruss and a couple of other people I don't know. One of which is an Italian name, so I'm gonna say it. Franzoni. Scott received an Oscar nomination for Best Director for Gladiator. Listen, if you really want to laugh, go on YouTube and type Gladiator teaser or Gladiator 2 trailer. See what you get. I've seen, so far, Norman Knights, Templars, Vikings. What else did I see? I wrote it down. Sorry, I forgot. Game of Thrones. Literally pieces of Game of Thrones. And they're like, Gladiator 2, so yeah, don't do that. But anyways, don't lie, but are you excited for Gladiator 2? And yeah, 2024 releasing, I hope. I mean, you made us wait, Mr. Scott, for 24 years. I just have 2 requests. Ditch the helmet. You know exactly what helmet I'm talking about. Ditch the helmet. And please, historically accurate armor. Can you do that for me, Scotty? Crowe and Phoenix are not expected to reprise their roles of Maximus and Commodus. Well, no shit! Guys, I'm sorry, no zombie apocalypse, considering the fact that, I mean, Russell Crowe, so Maximus, dies because of the wounds that he sustained after the fight with Commodus, and Commodus did not survive the fight with Maximus. It would have been shocking. I still think, Mr. Scott, you should consider the idea of a zombie apocalypse in ancient Rome. That would be fantastic. They come back, both of them, but this time as princes of Hades. Both men die at the end of Gladiator, yeah, so they're not coming back. At one point, there were plans to resurrect Maximus. You see? I knew it for a potential sequel, but those plans now seem to be off the table. But are they off the table? Ridley. This man is a riddle. The original version of Gladiator 2 would have seen Maximus coming back from the river Styx, but the script has evolved since then and is apparently now much more grounded. So, great. I said, oh here's Mr. Scott, we can bring him back this way, Scott explained on the Real Bleed podcast. And what I want to do is start the film in Styx on the edge of the ocean, and you see him, this warrior, wandering in armor. Oh, please don't make him wander in armor because you're gonna fuck up the armor. So I'd say just remove the armor. Just don't even bother. No armor. Just give him half a helmet, it'll be okay. Then it's Maximus wandering, looking for... Wait, so first he's wandering in armor, and then it's Maximus wandering, looking for where he's going to go next. That's scene 1. Well, it's a shame that was scrapped. I think you should definitely keep that one in. And, well, he already filmed it anyway, so we don't know if he did. But I suppose we'll find out very soon. Gladiator 2. Alright, noble ones, well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember thumbs up. Let me know what you think, if you're looking forward to this film, and if there is any specific movie from the year 2000, or maybe even from the year 1950 that you like to see. Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't subscribed, please become a noble one and subscribe to my channel for more content from the Metatron. Alright, noble ones, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember thumbs up, and also don't forget to take advantage of the amazing offer Scentbird has got for you by clicking the link in the description box. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.